The Order of Victory 2025. The Order of Victory 2025. Lord willing, this message is edifying, giving infinite honors and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessing to you, Akim, pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last 6 of time. Kwam Yashala, Mighty Shalom. And this lesson is entitled The Order of Victory, or A Victory is an Order, 2025. Lord willing, this message be edifying. And the word victory is written 30 times throughout this great book. All right. And this was what prompted me ultimately to get into this lesson, because the Lord is ordering his hopeful elect and setting them up for that great victory over this system, over oppression, over the blaspheming of the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, over the charagma, over the image of this system. This is 1 Chronicles 29 and 11. Thine, O Lord. I start at 10. Wherefore David blessed the Lord Yahweh before all the congregation. And David said, Blessed be thou, Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. Thine, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. Ultimately, because we know that the victory ultimately over this system, over the earth's militaries, okay, over this oppression is going to be accredited to whom the world ignorantly calls God through his Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. For all that is in the heaven and in the earth is thine. Thine is the kingdom, O Lord Yahweh, and thou art exalted as head above all. All right. So just going into that word victory, because ultimately victory is in order for 2025, man. Lord willing. All right. This be that year, coined by Apostle Tahar through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the hopeful year of our deliverance and the destruction and judgment of Esau, Edom. This is Psalms 91 and 1, a psalm. O sing unto the Lord Yahweh a new song, for he had done marvelous things by his right hand, and his holy arm had gotten him the victory. And that's ultimately through whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose true Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. We are going to get the victory. This word is Yahweh Shai. All right. Yahweh Shai cometh in the volume of the book. These prophecies are Yahweh Shai. And ultimately, we're going to get that victory through Yahweh Shai, man, as we're going to read. All right. This is Isaiah 25 and 8. He will swallow up death in victory, and the Lord Yahweh will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth. For the Lord Yahweh has spoken it. And ultimately, like it says in Revelation, the Lord will wipe the tears away from our eyes. All right. And ultimately, we know that that's talking about this slavery. Okay. This oppression. Okay. Not knowing our nationality. All right. Having to go to the oppressor for the want and need of all things, like it says in the book of Deuteronomy. And all that rebuke and that shame being called a proverb, a byword, all of that is going to be taken away by whom the world ignorantly calls God through his Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right? Because as it says, he will swallow up death in victory. Who's that talking about? Whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, man, whose true Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. All right? He deliverer. This is 1 Corinthians 15 and 54. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. And you read up in this chapter, it says the first Adam was earthly, the second Adam is a quickening spirit, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. All right, and ultimately we get that victory through Yahweh Shai, as we read about earlier. All right, and as we're going to read about some more, okay, this is, let's see which one I'm going to get to next. This is 1 Corinthians 15 and 57. It says, I'll just read from 55 where we just were. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to our power, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. So we ultimately get that victory through Yahushua, man. All right? And how is that victory going to be gotten? By breaking in pieces the earth's militaries, all right? By giving his hopeful elect this word to sup with on the planet Earth, the nationality, the names of the Lord, the testimony, these prophecies, all right? All of those things are gotten through Yahushua. Like the scriptures say, this is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengtheneth me. And that's not saying you can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengthen you in a mindset of this worldly Christianity, all right? In a worldly sense, no, that's talking about ultimately through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua in the true and proper doctrine from that manna from heaven given to us from Yahushua, all right? From the apostles on down to the least of us. Lord willing, I be at that number. Yahushua Mashiach being that chief cornerstone. This is Ephesians 2:20. It says, I start at 19. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua Mashiach himself being the chief cornerstone. You see, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for inhabitation of our power through the Spirit. So the Lord gathered the hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth and builded them for a habitation of our power through the Spirit, building them together. We're built ourselves up, because the scriptures say, Yahushua Mashiach dwelleth in our temple, man. Bear with me. This is Romans 8:9. But ye are not in the flesh, but are in the Spirit. If so be that the Spirit of our power dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is life because of righteousness. You see? So Yahushua is in us, man. All right? He is in our body and dwelleth in us by this word, by the Spirit. All right? By this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, these rivers of living water. Okay? By the blood. All right? That's how ultimately Yahushua is dealing with us on the planet Earth. Okay? But a victory is indeed in order. And that victory is for a certain group, the remnant on the planet Earth. So let's, like it says, victory is written 30 times. All right? So let's go to Revelation chapter 15. Well, I'll get another one for victory. Salaki Akim. 1 John 5:4 says, for whatsoever is born of our power overcometh the world. And this is the victory. This is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcometh the world, but he that believeth Hamashiach is the son of our power? You see? So ultimately, that's done through Yahushua, that overcoming. And we're able to overcome because of Yahushua, man. And we're ultimately able to get that victory because of Yahushua, as we read earlier. I'll read it again, 1 Corinthians 15:57. But thanks be to our power, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. And I just want to get that word victory real quick to see there's some meat in there. Bear with me. That word victory.
Strong's G 3534.
Nikos. It says victory, to utterly vanquish. It says a conquest, by implication, a triumph. You see, and who's ultimately going to triumph? All right, it tells you in Revelation 19th chapter, upon his head he shall be wearing many crowns. I looked and behold a white horse, and upon him was Him that called faithful and true. That's talking about Yahushua. He does judge and make war. All right. He's going to get the victory over these other nations. All right. That's what the word says. So let's go to Revelation chapter 15. This is Revelation chapter 15. I'll start at 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of our power. That's right, man. 7 going into completion, America being completely destroyed, the elect, righteousness in them being completely sealed, man. All right, beamed up and beholding this place in a sea of glass, as it's going to say. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his charagma and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of our power. You see? So that victory is not only going to be over someone that's currently in our vicinity oppressing us and wishing ill on us, but it's the victory over this system, this image, the charagma, the MOTB, all right? This rulership that's being ran in wickedness. We're getting a victory over that, man. We're getting a victory over America, which is bitter, marah, all right? We're getting a victory over this these 2/3, man, that are in the society upholding this image, upholding the charagma, all right? So let's go to this last one for victory, Lord willing. This was edifying. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 43. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past, and temperance is at an end, and fidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. And that's what you see on the planet Earth happening right now. The Lord is transitioning this current rulership out of power and the rulership of Jacob, Yasharallah, into power. It says, then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, the wicked, Esau, Edom, all right, those that are against and the enemies of righteousness. It says, nor to oppress him that had gotten the victory, all right, the hopeful elect, okay, of Yasharallah, you so-called Native Americans, Latinos, and Negroes that are earnestly calling upon the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and ultimately that were predestined, all right, to come back in these times to serve the Lord, all right. A victory is in order. There's an order of victory for you. Lord will not be of that number. All right. Kwam Yashallah. I'm going to say Shema, Yashallah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achud. It's Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings until next time. Kwam Yashallah. Mighty Shalom.